Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another TEW2020 Predicts video. The series where we use the magic board. It is totally extreme wrestling to gaze into the future and see what may come in the career of a particular superstar, or today, a particular pair of superstars. Because over in NXT, if you've been watching, if not, you should. NXT is really good. It's got Tony D'Angelo and Trick Williams, so of course it is. There's been a bit of a feud raging on, hasn't there, between two very toxic former partners, Gigi Dolin and Jacy Jayne. And as of recording this week, they're going to have a weaponized steel cage match on NXT. So yeah, really heating up there. And so I thought, why not use this little predict series, because I haven't done a video on either of them, and, you know, two birds, one stone, do a video on both of them, and see who will have a better career out of Jacy Jayne and Gigi Dolin. Now, Jacy Jayne, starting injured as of the start date in this mod, which is April 2023. June release coming soon. Make videos a lot easier. But we're starting in April at the minute. So yeah, Gigi Dolin and Jacy Jayne have just broke up. They're both going to set out on themselves. Gigi Dolin a babyface now, Jacy Jayne a heel. And we're going to see what's going to happen. As things stand, Gigi Dolin, two-time women's tag champ in NXT. Jacy Jayne the same, so they have the same accomplishments. And yeah, without further ado, I'm going to jump forward to the end of both of their careers, which could be wildly different start dates. One of them could have been retired for 5-10 years by the time this, we get to the end, and the other has, but we'll see how close they are. And yeah, we're going to look to answer that magic question of who is going to have a better career out of Gigi Dolin and Jacy Jayne. And we're back Monday, week 1, January 2048. Dragon Lee the Third, a new superstar's taken on a mask, and he's the best wrestler in the world. The best company in the world is WWE for the upteenth time. Looking at that, a new Phantasma has risen up and teamed with Nick Wayne to form the best tag team. God, it's all going off. One of the Creed brothers, Brutus, is the veteran wrestler of the year. And B-Fab is the best women's wrestler in the world, which happens a lot. So I hope you're prepared for that in the future. And the main point here, these two are retired. They both retired and become managers. Jacy Jayne retiring May 2047, inducts into the WWE Hall of Fame. We're going to go into more detail on both of them, but gives you an idea of how her career went. Gigi Dolin retiring April 2047. So they retired very soon, very close to each other, very quick. Thankfully for me, inducts into the Hall of Fame as well, and a much longer list. So let's start with Gigi Dolin while we're here. She, breaking up with Zachary Wentz, Nash Carter, called up April 2025, pretty quickly, a couple years. Called up to the WWE. Eventually leaving though in December 2028. So main roster for about 3 years, just over, before leaving. Doing some time in Ring of Honor, Defy, Impact, PWG, going around the block, getting into a new relationship even with Arez, who seems like a lovely fella. I'm sorry, what's he? Arez. No, he's left the wrestling business. I thought he died for a second there. That was going to be sad. Yeah, NWA. Eventually, though, Gigi Dolin returning to WWE in February 2033. She did the indie circuit, went around, and then has come back to WWE. What's that? About 5 years? 5 years after leaving? Just under even. Four and a bit years. So, proving herself out there to the point where WWE said you have to come back. Picked up a little bit of an injury, swollen calf muscle, only 28 days, though not serious. Breaking up with Arez. September 2039, new relationship July 2041, back in WWE, new love forming with Preston Vance here. Look at his handsome face. And then, yeah, staying in WWE, moving to the Northwest with Preston. Another injury, chronic shoulder pain for 3 months, getting towards the end of her career now, starting to pick up some injuries, not as spry as she used to be. And then, yeah, WWE only extending her in 2047 on a handshake deal, saying, you know what, you can go out, do what you want. There's a new world around here with whoever runs WWE. We're not going to hold you hostage. And she took advantage of that, taking a stop back in Defy a little bit, where she spent some early stages in her career after leaving WWE before eventually retiring. She was in Defy for 3 months, and then she said, you know what, I'm going to call it a day, and retired. But, fair enough. Jacy Jayne, a lot, shorter. She was recalled in December 2026, so, nearly 2 years after Gigi Dolin. Jacy Jayne staying in NXT for a lot longer, but she never left. No, she did. She left WWE, actually. It's October 2028. They left pretty close to each other. But November 2028, what's that? God, not even a week later. Just over a week later. That's 9 days later. Hired by AEW, which she never left AEW, which means AEW went out of business. Classic. Tony Khan can't manage money. She returned in November 21st. God, they went out of business quickly. I don't know what contract they gave to Jacy Jayne, but I'm going to assume these two events are linked. Back in WWE, gets in a relationship with Tyler Bate. That's lovely. Jacy Jayne and Tyler Bate together. Good for them. They moved to the Southwest. A little bit of a social media storm for bullying a young fan. If you can't handle the heat, get off Twitter, mate. Her and Tyler Bate, though, after a 7-year-long relationship breakup. Oh, well. And then she retires. So, yeah, pretty much spending her whole career in WWE, not having this... Well, I mean, at the very least, not going on this kind of trek of the indies like Gigi Dolin did, just going to AEW, staying there, and then going back to WWE. Gigi Dolin went around a bit, Defy, NWA, Impact, Ring of Honor. Both of them retired now. God, how are we doing this? Let's go back to Gigi. Let's take a look at her titles first. She's won quite a few. 2 Defy Women's, IWGP Women's title. She held that for just over 2 years. NWA World Women's Television. 4-time NXT Women's Tag titles. 2 with Jacy Jayne, and then 2 with Miyako Satomura. An interesting team formed in NXT. 2-time Ring of Honor Women's World Champ. 3 Money in the Banks. 1 Women's Royal Rumble. She won 3 Raw Women's titles and 2 SmackDown Women's titles. That's a fair enough little collection, as well as 6 women's tag titles, 3 of them with BFAB, 1 with Harley Cameron, 1 with Bianca Belair, and 1 with Eleanor Trigg. So, Gigi Dolin had no problems finding friends after Jacy Jayne. Look at that. Tag titles with Miyako, BFAB, Harley, Bianca, Eleanor. She won plenty. And I mean, performance-wise, she's done well as well. Hall of Fame in the WWE, 10% towards Hall of Immortals. Never happened, sadly. 3-time Female Wrestler of the Year. 3-time Tag Team of the Year. 3 years running with Brianna, with BFAB. They were the best tag team in the world. And 4 times overall, 2033 as well. And, I mean, look at that. It all fits on one page. That's actually very useful. 2023, she wasn't in the top Power 500. 2024, she powered into it, though, right to 340. Not bothering with that first 100 nonsense. And then she just kept rising. And then from 2029 to 2047, every single year, she was in the top 91. She was double digits. She got single digits once. She was the 5th best wrestler in the world in 2037. Well, she was the best women's wrestler in the world as well. Which, fair enough, yeah. Gigi Dolin. I mean, a nice little career. Her final ever match was retaining the Raw Women's title against Thea Hale, BFAB, and Eleanor Trigg, who is Mariah May reincarnated. That's Mariah May? I think so. So in her final match, she retains the Raw Women's title, and then she retires. So I'm intrigued enough to go over here. Stephanie McMahon's in charge of WWE if you're interested. This always seems to happen in NXT, that they'll pretty much shut down, but they'll stay open, and Dijak will be there. He just chills over here. He's hanging out with Solomon Crowe. He's happy down here. Ricky Starks and Brutus Creed and Haaland, the faces of WWE. Jacy Jayne right up there as well. Look at that. Go Tour Company. Well, she didn't make Tour Company. Hank Walker did, though, which brings a smile to my face. Gigi Dolin retiring with the title, retaining the Raw Women's title, then retiring, holding the belt. She only held it for a month. No, wait, that was vacant. Sorry. She held it for 6 weeks. That's not any better, honestly. And Thea Hale picking it up, which is lovely to see. That one's for you, Colin. But yeah, good career for Gigi Dolin. She took a bit more of a journeyman approach to after leaving WWE, going around, told Ring of Honor champ, NWA, IWGP, Defy. But, I mean, even just on her time in WWE, 5-time women's champ, a women's Royal Rumble, 3 women's Money in the Banks, 6 women's tag titles, NXT 4-time women's tag title NXT as well. Very solid career for Gigi Dolin. Jacy Jayne spent a lot more time in WWE though, so it'll be intriguing how she got on. Let's have a look. She's very popular, is our Jacy. And let's have a look. Yeah, and damn, okay. It's not the variety of companies, but my God, is this a long list? Okay. In her time in AEW, she won 1 women's world title, held that for 6 months, 7 defenses, did well. 3-time NXT Women's Tag Champ. She won an extra run with Zoe Stark. Jacy Jayne and Zoe Stark in the heel mode she is right now. That is a vindictive and evil tag team, I can imagine. I can honestly kind of see that, Jacy Jayne and Zoe Stark. 4 women's Money in the Banks. 5 women's Royal Rumbles. She won the Women's Rumble 2038, 2040, 2041, back-to-back, 2043, 2045. So she's mainly spreading it out, a couple years between, but she did it back-to-back as well for the fun of it. Women's Money in the Banks, 2041, 43, 44, 45. 4 times in 5 years, Jacy Jayne. And that's it, like, it's in the 40s, so she is in her 40s. She's not letting age slow her down here. She is staying dominant. And then, my God, 11 Raw women's titles and 4 SmackDown women's titles. Shout out to you, Jacy Jayne. Jacy Jayne popping off a 15-time women's champion, 1 short of Ric Flair. So close, yet so far. But you can't knock it. My God. 2 women's tag titles as well. One with Tiffany Stratton and one with Sol Ruka. I can vaguely see Tiffany Stratton, especially from her time in Toxic Attraction, I can see it. Sol Ruka, a little bit less, but, getting on to the end of her career. Both of them kind of getting on in the end of their careers, but doing very, very well. Interesting teams. And then in-ring wise, 15% towards Hall of Immortals, so 5% more than Gigi Dolin, WWE Hall of Fame. No best tag team in the world, but the best female wrestler in the world 5 times in 2039, 2040, 2041, 2042, and 2046. There was a 4-year stretch, 2039 to 2042, where Jacy Jayne was the best women's wrestler in the world, undisputed. The Power 500, yeah. 1 less appearance than Gigi Dolin, I'm pretty sure here, 2047. But yeah, starting lower as well, 481 in 2024. Didn't immediately power up to the right, into the top, in the 300s, whatever, but worked her way down slowly, and then stayed down. You look at the longevity, 2029 to 2046, in the top 79. There's this stretch, 2038, she's the 8th. 2039, the 3rd best wrestler in the world overall. Of every wrestler in the world, she's the 3rd best. Then 8th, 6th, 12th. And then in 2046, in 2047, she's slowed down. She's starting to think, I'm going to retire. But in 2046, her last full year, she is the 4th best wrestler in the world. Jacy Jayne did not quit. She did not give in. 2046, that was the year. 17 wins, 5 losses. Honestly, this is not what I was expecting, but oh well. Her last ever match was a tag match with Sol Ruka, her old partner, at SummerSlam, and they lost by count out for the women's tag titles against Bonnie Evans and Evelyn Whitehead here. But Jacy Jayne also retired to Jesus Christ. Gigi Dolin and Jacy Jayne, kind of always intrinsically linked, both retiring in the same year of 2047, around the same time. Gigi Dolin retiring as the Raw Women's Champ, and Jacy Jayne retiring as the SmackDown Women's Champ. For all their differences, they're still hella alike, aren't they? Jacy Jayne, in her second to last match, retaining the SmackDown Women's title against Riley Rocket and Jazzy Yang here. Which, fair enough, Jacy. The kind of focus, WWE might just not be doing Raw and SmackDown anymore, because I'm not seeing really any. There's Raw here, SmackDown here. Maybe she just wasn't doing it anymore. I don't know. But yeah, Gigi, that's an interesting link. They both retired as champions. Because if I go here and I go to SmackDown Women's, Jacy Jayne, yeah, and they're yet to crown a new SmackDown Women's champion. That's interesting. God. Women's Royal Rumbles. Plenty of Jacy and Gigi in here. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. What I'm going to do, because this is a comparison, we've kind of gone over them both. What I will do here is I'll do a little spreadsheet and I'll get them up, all their titles, their Power 500s and that, and get to do a better comparison between the two. So just give me a moment. Okay, God. Right, Power 500's over here, titles over here. So, Power 500 wise, Gigi Dolin doing it for a year longer. I mean, yeah, look at that. 13 times Jacy Jayne was higher than Gigi Dolin. Gigi Dolin was higher 10 times. Jacy Jayne, the best female wrestler in the world on 5 occasions. Gigi Dolin on 3 occasions. Which makes me think Jacy Jayne overall better. But, I mean, Gigi Dolin, on an average, has a better position. On average, she's 73rd in the world. On average, Jacy Jayne, 87 placing. But that's down to the first 3 years, honestly. These very high ones, higher than anything Gigi Dolin had. I think if you make these the same as what Gigi Dolin has, so you change that to 344, 310, and the 193, then yeah, 70, Jacy Jayne would have a higher placing. So it's those first 3 years, they're kind of destroying Jacy Jayne's average. You know, if I... God, let me do my little Excel. If I do all of that, bang that, divide by something. God. Nope, not going to happen. But yeah, I just feel like the average will be a lot more forgiving. But those 3 are what's taking down Jacy Jayne's average. But, I mean, career-wise, Jacy Jayne, when she started getting going, this stretch, she dominated. In-ring, no one was really keeping up with Jacy Jayne. She was doing incredible. Especially, of course, this little stretch right here. Shout out this stretch, though. 5 years in a row. Yeah, the Toxic Attraction women, best wrestlers in the world. You can't knock that. And then title-wise here, Jacy Jayne winning 30, Gigi Dolin winning 25. Gigi Dolin, a bit more of the journeyman thing, like we said. IWGP, Ring of Honor, The Fight, NWA. Jacy Jayne, sticking WWE, AEW. And in WWE, women's tag titles, Gigi Dolin 4-3. In WWE itself, though, Gigi Dolin, maybe a bit more of a tag team specialist. 10 tag titles overall. Maybe Gigi Dolin is just better in that kind of tag space. Singles-wise, Jacy Jayne, no offense to her, absolutely trounced Gigi. 13-11 Raw Women's Tag Titles. SmackDown Women, 2-4. So it's a lot closer. Jacy Jayne, a Raw women through and through. Monday night, Jacy Jayne, we all gathered round the television for that one. But still, yeah, and then Royal Rumbles, 5-1. Money in the Bank, 4-3. Jacy Jayne was dominant, honestly. Yeah. But kind of overall, I don't know. I think I will leave it to you. Personally, I don't know. Looking at the power rankings, the match quality wise, Gigi, Jacy. I guess one more thing to look at. Jacy's best match was a 90, and Gigi's best match was a 93. So yeah, I guess I will leave that one up to you. Personally, I'd say Jacy Jayne, I think. I don't know. I mean, you can't really argue with a 15-time women's champion WWE. 16 if you want to add the AEW women's title as well. Go ahead. All the women's Royal Rumbles, all the Money in the Bank. Gigi Dolin, enjoying herself. She's a free spirit, enjoying herself. Defy, Ring of Honor, IWGP. Overall, I think Jacy Jayne might have edged this. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. It doesn't matter what I think, it matters what you think. So yeah, leave in the comments down below. Who do you think's had the better career? Jacy Jayne or Gigi Dolin? Who do you think's going to have the better career? Who do you prefer of the former Toxic Attraction Tag Team Champions? Let me know that as well. Let me know any other superstars you'd like to see me do these little predicts videos on. Love to hear what you'd like to see, always, of course. And yeah, let me know your thoughts, like I said. Leave a like if you have enjoyed. I hope you have. And subscribe for more. And as always, I just want to say a very special thank you for watching.